Hello guys, and I know most of y'all clicked on this because you thought I was pretty much speaking the basketball equivalent of blasphemy by saying Russell Westbrook isn't a good player, and I'd like to clarify this before y'all immediately start hating in the comments, most likely, at least but anyway, what I wanted to say was, Russell Westbrook isn't a good team player, and never will be, and never has been, okay? That's what I want to say in this video. And look, I myself am a massive Russ fan. Russell Westbrook is my favorite player of all time and has been for like the last year and a half. So, but at the same time, there's a lot of Russ fans out there, including like me a year ago, that's kind of delusional about him. But he's never going to be a good team player, and never, like I said earlier, never will be, never has been. And I want to explain why that is, because he's never done, like, actual winning except for when he played next to Kevin Durant. And, as, shout-outs to Basketball Reference for this, so, Katie and Russ, they're a pretty good duo, you know, they had two 61 seasons, basically, a couple other solid win seasons as well, you know. At the same time, though, Russell Westbrook has never been a winning player. You can clearly tell with all the record. You know, I know the OKC Thunder had a terrible team, but even when Russell Westbrook had a great team next to him, like with Carmelo Anthony and Paul George, and I know Melo wasn't close to prime Melo, but he was still like almost a 20 points per game scorer. Paul George literally made All NBA first team, All Defensive first team. It was MVP PG, but even with a good-ass team like that, I can't remember, I think it was 2018, 2019 when that happened, they didn't even win 50 games. Alright, despite having two star players, they lost in the first round, won under 50 games. Actually, no, let me double check. What year did Paul George make All Defense? Paul George, All NBA first team year. Oh yeah, so I was right. It was 2019, right here. Is it the 2019-2020 season? You know, let me search up his stats real quick. Paul George stats. Okay, let's see, right here. Okay, so it was the 2018-19 season. He was averaging 28, 8, and 4, and 2.2 steals per game. He was balling out, right? So I was right. 2018-2019 season, MVP Paul George. They didn't even win 50 games, and the Carmelo Anthony was still really good. So was Russ, but at the same time, Russ really isn't a winning player because despite having two other star players along next to him, they still could barely make the playoffs and got bounced in the first round. And seriously, because I know the team wasn't exactly that well built, but at the same time, Russ is a selfish player. He's a stat padder, okay? And I know like I said, and I know a lot of y'all argue, but Russ, when he was quote-unquote stat padding, he was averaging over 10 assists per game. Well, thing is, what Russ did a lot of times is, after he got done scoring a certain amount, he only looked to pass and didn't go to score, even though he could have gotten a bunch of easy buckets. He does that a lot. And also, we all know about his rebounds getting stat padded like crazy. He was playing next to Steven Adams, who was averaging like, 8 rebounds per game. He definitely could have been averaging more if it wasn't for Russ's stat padding. And he's just not a winning player, really. Because we can clearly see that with the Wizards and the Lakers, and hell, even the Clippers and even the Denver Nuggets, you could say as well. Because the Lakers, he was abysmal for them. Alright, in terms of like efficiency, seriously, he made the Lakers fall off. And look, I know the Lakers didn't exactly have a good, they didn't exactly use them completely right, but at the same time, Russ was also just plain bad. I know he was getting older and everything, but he was averaging a triple-double the year before with the Wizards, and he only got like a year older, and was only like, 30 or 31, so he was still in his prime. And then he started playing like ass, because I guess it just... The reason why he played bad was because he didn't have a system revolved around him. He's not a winning player when he doesn't have a system or an offense that runs around him, okay? Like James Harden as an example. That's another good option right here. Let's look at his stats. In the Thunder, he was really good for them, He was pretty good, 6th man of the year type stuff, and, But anyway, Dude was pretty good off the bench and everything, but at the same time, he was the main scorer off the bench. And then he went to Houston, became the #1 guy for him, balled out and all that, became him. And then, the thing is about Harden actually, evolved his game into becoming a pass-first player when he went to Brooklyn and the 76ers because he was averaging 10 assists per game and, close to 10 assists per game. Alright. He knew how to, he was still, one of the main offensive players in the Brooklyn Nets, but at the same time, KD was still the main scorer, and Kyrie was still there, he was still scoring a lot, too. And really, James evolved his game to be able to incorporate other people into it with other stars. Russ isn't capable of doing that. He's really not capable of doing that. Seriously. Because, hell, even Russ, when he played next to Harden, he was clear. I mean, I know he's still averaging 27, 8, and 7, which is good and everything. But at the same time, the Houston Rockets that season were not very good and got bounced in the playoffs immediately. That's my main point, though. Russ isn't a winning player. If he plays next to other ball-dominant players, he cannot play well. Seriously, Russ has the Carmelo Anthony, Allen Iverson curse, where they all got great stats and everything, but they can't win shit. Alright, I know Allen Iverson made it to the finals, but at the same time, dude was averaging 50 per game, but he was also averaging 5 turnovers, and his efficiency wasn't the greatest. But at the same time, just I know I keep on saying this, but Russ really isn't a winning player, isn't capable of doing it. I know a lot of his, and you can even see now that he's really not that good as a backup player, not a backup, but not the main option. Because with the Clippers, I know he was a solid role player, but at the same time, another problem with Russ out of his many, many problems is he refuses to evolve his game the way James Harden did, where James Harden became more of a playmaker and became an elite passer and one of the best passers in this generation after he started playing with other stars like Kevin Durant, Kyrie, and Brooklyn, and then also with Joel Embiid and the 76ers, and also the Clippers eventually with Kawhi and Paul George, right? He evolved his game to become a pass-first player and became an excellent passer while being still a really good, scoring player. Russ really isn't capable of doing that. Seriously, Russ still hasn't developed a jump shot, even though he has plenty of time to work on it. Seriously, and I have so many examples of players who, developed a jump shot as they got older, like Al Horford. Let me show you his stats. Dude couldn't shoot when he was in his prime, but once he became a role player with the Celtics, eventually, or in his, in his, last 2 seasons with the Hawks, or maybe 3 seasons, he actually started shooting threes, got better at it, and then eventually when he joined the Celtics, and also the Thunder and 76ers eventually as well, but he developed a jump shot and became an elite three-point shooter. He's been an elite three-point shooter for the last 3 seasons. He's been one of the best role players in the entire NBA, and he's been great. He evolved his game and became a really good role player. Russ still can't do that. I know he's averaging, as an example, in his second year with the Clippers, he was averaging 11, 5, and 4.5, 1.1 steals per game. That's pretty solid. Field goal efficiency solid, but he can't shoot for shit, and also still average a lot of turnovers for someone that's the number 3 or number 4 option, which is terrible. And actually, no, he's honestly, I'd say he's the number 5 option, honestly, on that team, since Norman Powell got more shots than him. So dude's a number 5 or number 6 option. Yeah, he's still averaging let me see. Let me search up his turnovers real quick. Let's see. Go on ESPN right here. Dude, he still gets way too much turnovers for someone who isn't even near the top option. Seriously. And also another thing about, that's fucking abysmal. This man is averaging 2 turnovers per game, while being the number 4, number 5th option, and at that point he wasn't even starting. Also, dude was averaging 2 turnovers per game in 22 minutes is fucking abysmal. Seriously, that is crazy. And aside from his inconsistency and also just pure inefficiency, really. He also doesn't play any defense, really. I know he's a fake hustler, which is what I, call players who, kind of fake hustle on defense. Russ doesn't play any defense. I know a lot of y'all are well, he gets a lot of steals. He plays defense because of that, or you might see, a defensive highlight, like the one last season where he got a 2-handed snatch block on Pablo Banchero. Yeah, Russ still doesn't play defense. Aside from the fact that he turns over the ball way too much, is inefficient and can't shoot for shit, he also doesn't play any defense. Okay? He might occasionally play good defense. At the same time, he's still really inconsistent. I mean, seriously, he's like Harden, except maybe a little bit better on the defensive side. Maybe tries a little bit harder, but still, he refuses to evolve his game to become an actual role player. Still hasn't developed a jump shot the way out. And seriously, why the fuck is a 6'9" big man who is capable of scoring without that 3-point shot become a 40% 3-point shooter at like age 32 or 33 and has been that for like the last like several seasons, like the way Al Horford did it? Well, younger Russell Westbrook, who is also a guard that doesn't have that much athleticism anymore and can't rely on that inside scoring he could before when he was younger, as you can see here. Why hasn't he developed a jump shot yet? Seriously. I don't get it when NBA players don't develop jump shot or make their game better. Because, seriously, you have plenty of time, alright? I know you have practices, obviously, you have games as well, but you still have hours upon hours of time to practice. And seriously, Russ clearly loves basketball, and most players love basketball, you know. But at the same time, how do you not work hard enough to develop a jump shot? And I know he's been shooting better as of recent, you know, at a couple, but he's still incredibly inconsistent, still pretty inefficient, though, you know, way too much turnovers. And I really don't understand why he just refuses to develop a jump shot. Seriously. You are a guard that's out of your prime and no longer that athletic and can't really score anymore. Unless you want to become like a TJ McConnell where you only pass or like something like that, which, you know, Russ, as you can see with the amount of shots he takes consistently, as you can see here, he clearly doesn't want to become a TJ McConnell. I mean, he's been a good playmaker, but at the same time, 2 turnovers per game, while, you know, 2 turnovers in 25 minutes is crazy, while, you know, still. See, like I said, though, I don't understand why this man just refuses to develop a jump shot or play defense, really. I don't get it. And it's not like he's small or anything. He's still, like, you know, he's still somewhat fast. Nowhere near as fast as he used to be. He's still fast enough to guard other guards. He's bigger and stronger than most other point guards as well. And I don't understand why he just doesn't play defense. I don't get it. Okay? And also, he just makes a lot of boneheaded decisions a lot, you know? And that's, yeah, it's just, like, a massive criticism I have of him. Because, and I might end the video off here. Russ, he needs to learn to evolve his game. He needs to get, you know, actually become a role player instead of becoming like a hybrid between a role player and a star, which is what he thinks he could be. I don't get why he does this. And also, a lot of you guys, Russ fans, need to accept that he's never going to be a good winning player. And whenever someone criticizes him for that, you shouldn't be hating on that person. I go on TikTok and people will, like, bitch constantly about someone saying Russell Westbrook isn't a good role player. Wait a sec, I'll be back. And yeah, that's my main criticism of him. And Russ really has to do something about that. If not, just retire at this point. He is not a winning player. Never will be. Bye.